See, I said I wasn't going to do another video on John Mateer. And those of you guys on YouTube know that I made a video 2 weeks ago. It's fun. Check it out. But about the three different characters on trial to determine if John Mateer was like Baker Mayfield. And I thought that was enough Mateer content until we got to the Red River rivalry here in a couple of weeks. Try to say that 5 times fast. Goodness gracious. And then I was going to be like, all right, then we can get into Mateer after that game because that'll be the big test. But there is a new comparison that keeps coming out for John Mateer, and that is how similar is the now betting favorite to win the Heisman and the dude that just beat Auburn. How similar is he to Johnny Manziel? Not Baker Mayfield, Johnny Manziel. I still kind of like the Baker Mayfield comp. But Johnny Manziel being thrown out there a lot more, and he had a great quote yesterday for those of you guys that didn't see, where he's like, I forget the exact question, but he was like, "I'm going to church tomorrow morning." That's how I'm different than Johnny Manziel. I just butchered that whole quote, but I thought it was telling for the kind of guy that he is. But yesterday he beats Oklahoma's former quarterback Jackson Arnold. Arnold went 21 for 32, 176 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions, 10 sacks. I was watching this from a airport bar having a Coors Light about how many sacks he was taking. Anytime you're a quarterback taking 10 sacks at a certain point, bro, you got to help out your offensive line. You cannot take 10 sacks if you're a quarterback. Jackson Arnold didn't get a ton of help. Refs didn't help him. The false starts were terrible. I get it. You cannot take 10 sacks if you're a quarterback. You got to get the ball to your hands. And that's coming from a guy who I was a pocket passer guy. That still holds true if you're a pocket passer. If you're a dual threat, and you can run around, you can make people miss, you cannot take 10 sacks, period. I don't care how bad your offensive line is. John Mateer went 24 for 36, 266 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions, 1 sack, had 9 carries for 34 yards. Those of you guys that saw my live 2 weeks ago, and this will get into how does he compare to Johnny Manziel. One area they're different. Mateer's more powerful. Mateer's built to withstand high double-digit carries a week in the SEC. I believe that. I think he can do that. I think he'll live right in that 9 to 15 category a game. And I think he's built to do that. Johnny Manziel wasn't built to do that. Johnny Manziel was much more, we got to pick our spots. Got to get the quarterback draw here and there. All right, it's third and got to have it. And we're right up against the end zone. All right, then we'll run Johnny Manziel. Dude, Mateer, it's 2nd and 7. Sweet. You like a front and a certain look you're getting, dial them up. But you got to put them on quota. But I will say, and I think John Mateer is the best quarterback in college football. No one's talking about him yet through an NFL lens. If he keeps playing like this, it would not surprise me if he's the number 1 pick in the NFL draft. I think he's that good. I think his film's legit, man. His film's legit. It's not just running around and having fun. He's making big time throws. But in terms of how does he compare to Johnny Manziel? One area that was a huge strength for Johnny Manziel that I think is an area that Mateer needs to improve on is layering the football. Johnny Manziel did a phenomenal job he always had a knack for great touch, those second level throws. If a level 1 throw is on a line, which John Mateer loves to do, level 3 ball is home run shot. See fade ball down the field. Level 2 somewhere in between. Johnny Manziel, great at that. Sometimes it was almost like, dude, how was he so accurate with that throw? But he found a way, even with the crazy footwork and all that. John Mateer, I think, could be better when it comes to that area. And here are the examples to show you. He missed 2 maybe touchdowns in this game on layering the football right here on YouTube. He's going to have a concept with his tight end on a little hitch route to the left. But he's got his slot receiver, the number 3 receiver on the top of the screen, working what looks like a dig route, or I'll watch it with you guys in real time. But I forget if it's a dig route or if it's a vertical taking this left hash or if it's an over route. But moral of the story, this slot receiver is going to get to this vacated grass over here on the left side hash. This safety right here is very low and is not a factor in this. The safety on the right-hand side over this number 3 receiver is having to manage these 2 receivers. There is a shit ton of grass over here to the left-hand side. And Mateer misses this. He tries to throw a bullet throw So it is a dig route. He tries to bullet one in there to that dig route. Let this develop, bro. Let this develop and throw your dig route down here. Put some touch on it. Lob it over here. There are no defenders here. This could have been a house call. And when you look how frustrated the receiver gets. See his body language? Oh, I'll show you on the back end. Works over. Mateer tries to bullet it in there. Manziel had that sense of knowing where the open windows are, where I can level that football, layer that football. Watch number 4, look how pissed he gets. He's like, fuck, man. Because he knows. He's looking up at the sky. He's like, he knows it. There was tons of green grass right there. Rather than driving this football, layer it over these linebackers, and you have a touchdown. On one side, you love the arm strength from Mateer. On the other side, doesn't always have to be a fastball. And I'm wary of, I think that's like an analyst cliche is like, oh, it doesn't always have to be a fastball. Because Mateer can layer the football. He has shown he can layer the football. He has shown that he can do everything. But to me, when you're projecting the NFL or when you're evaluating him as an NFL prospect of like, hey, where can he get better? It's on these level 2 layering the football throws. Another example right here. The last one was a dig route. This is going to be an over route by one of the receivers here on the bottom of your screen. It's going to be an over route. They're taking this grass on the 35-yard line right here. This is wide ass open. Wide ass open. Fake the run. This dude right here running to this open grass. Wide ass open. Even at the college football ranks. Mateer throws an inaccurate throw. This is poor. He throws it behind his receiver. He's lucky that he still got a completion. This is easy stuff. Watch this back view. Those behind the receiver, lucky he came down with it. This is a mechanics footwork thing that I'll get into. But the point I want to drive home here is Manziel's DNA is to drive this football. Drive this football. Put it on your receiver right away. And it's actually hitting me now that as I say that, that was the critique I had when we did the film breakdown versus Michigan, when he had those home run touchdown shots down the field and he elected to like drive it on the receiver right away. And I was like, nah, dude, put it over the top. Give your receiver a chance to make the play. There's something in his bones that always wants to fastball it. And it comes through right here. Layer this football. Give your guy something, an easy ball to catch. The natural next question is like, Max, why does this happen? Why does this happen? And in terms of comparing him to Manziel, I think they're very similar in terms of their presence in the pocket. They're very athletic in the pocket. They're not as strict and robotic with their footwork, which I think that allows them to make more plays in the pocket and puts a lot of pressure on the defense. But because they're not as clean with their footwork, sometimes Mateer can be hoppy and get left to right from a drop back standpoint. And then when you couple the hop getting left to right with his 3/4 motion, if they don't time up perfectly, sometimes he can get out of sync. And that's what I think happens here. Watch him jump to his right. It's kind of hoppy, 3/4 motion, gets away from him. Again, this is very critical, but I say it through the lens of, all right, how does he, is he really that dude? Like when we're really talking about it like that, I think he's a stud, best quarterback in college football. Again, right now he's the number 1 quarterback for me in next year's class. Like people are saying, I hate this because this is going to come down as an anti-Lenora Sellers take. But I saw a graphic yesterday when I was in the booth calling a game that 2/3 of NFL execs right now, if they had to draft the number 1 quarterback in the NFL draft, would take Lenora Sellers. Lenora Sellers is not better than John Mateer. Lenora Sellers is a really good quarterback. Would not surprise me if he's a first-round pick. I need to meet those NFL execs that are taking Lenora Sellers over John Mateer as an NFL quarterback because I got to know what you're watching. And then last throw right here, and I'll circle it around with the Johnny Manziel comp right here, after that. But like I said, he's shown that he can do it. This is an excellent example of layering the football. This is a big-time throw, and this is a close game This is fourth quarter, I believe. This is a tight window. This is an NFL level throw. You're throwing it to a tight end over 2 linebackers in front of 1 safety. If you throw this 12 inches too high, it could be picked and maybe you're losing this game. If you throw it 12 inches too low, it's definitely picked by the linebacker. Check this out. This tight end's going to work this middle of the field by the SEC logo. John Mateer layers the football, throws it, bang, big time throw. Back end view's excellent too. See, watch that. Ooh, that's a good example too. You guys will like this. If you're a Mateer Hardo or you're more of an NFL fan and you've made it this far into this clip, look at how wacky Mateer's drop is. He literally starts, just watch it. And this is very Manziel-esque. Hop, hop, hop. Look at that. His drop started 2 inches to our right of the hash, 2 yards to our right of the hash. And then it ends a yard to the left of the hash. That ain't good. That ain't good. And again, on one side, you can say, oh, Max, you're being too critical. Let him be athletic. Fair. I like that. Mateer's a beast. Let him be athletic. You know, he's kind of got that middle infielder, because I know he's a baseball player, kind of moxie there. But on the flip side, when he's inaccurate with throws, this is why. He's not inaccurate here. That's a dime. Look at that. Theme of this live's been intermediate passing game. This is intermediate passing game at a high level. Over 2 linebackers in front of the safety, protect your wideout. That's getting it done. And so, taking this full circle to the Manziel comp, I think their similarities, their release, their maneuvers in the pocket, very similar. How you call plays for both these guys, I think is similar. It's not identical. I think you can lean even more on quarterback runs for John Mateer. But in terms of if I'm an OC at the college level, their skill sets in terms of what I'm bringing to the park game plan wise, very similar. How they're different, I think Mateer has a stronger arm, which is why, again, people aren't really talking about him as a NFL guy, but Mateer's got a stronger arm. I think he's more powerful than Manziel in that, again, projecting towards the next level. Hey, can you have more design quarterback runs for him? Can he withstand a beating? Can he hang in the pocket more and take more hits? I think Mateer is better than Manziel in that way. I watched Mateer last year at Washington State, but I do think Manziel's vision was a little bit better, meaning like his ability to just make plays, pocket collapsing, him running around, making defensive ends miss. You don't see as much of that with Manziel. I mean, gosh, Manziel and Mateer, tough to say back to back. But like Manziel was always getting flushed out, making defensive ends run a mile on one play. Not saying that's always good, but that was very much part of Manziel's game. That doesn't show up as much with Mateer. And then I mentioned it and we just broke it all down. I think Manziel's touch was a notch better than Mateer's touch through 4 games this football season. Not saying Mateer can't do it, not saying Mateer can't get there, but you can tell when you're watching the film, in Mateer's DNA, it's drive the football, which I don't mind. I'd rather be that way than the other way. But in terms of how those guys compare, that's where I land.